My husband drunkenly confessed his love for my sister, and now he's leaving me. Ironically, I couldn't blame him, she'd perfect. And when I think of it, sometimes I'd hate me as well. My sister and I had a shitty life growing up with a passive mother and abusive stepfather. My sister was my protector and role model since none of the adults were. She tried to shift my stepdad's abuse onto her when he got drunk so he wouldn't hurt me. When she left for college, she let me stay in her bed while she slept on the floor in her student room on the days I managed to run away from home. When I turned 16, she let me move in with her permanently. We never saw our parents again. My husband is very similar to my sister. They're both very calm and kind. Both are very intelligent. They have the same sense of humor and love the same music, books, movies, and games. It's like a weird, perverted thing that I found the male version of my sister to fall in love with. They get along very well, and that was so important to me because they're my only family. We got married a year ago after 6 years together, and I'm 27 weeks pregnant now with our first baby. My sister met her boyfriend years ago. He got along very well with me and my husband, although I always felt that my husband never really liked the guy. When I asked him once why he didn't like him, he got flustered, told me that he didn't know it was noticeable, and apologized. He told me he just didn't think he was good enough for her. My sister's boyfriend proposed to her last night. We were just having pizzas, and they were having beers on my sister's balcony, and he just suddenly went down on his knees and took out a ring. She was very surprised, but happy all the same, and said yes. When we went back home, my husband was a little tipsy. He told me he wasn't tired, that he was going to take one more beer and watch TV, and that I should go to bed. I went back to the living area, and he was sitting there crying. I asked him what was going on, and he told me that he was in love with my sister. It has been years, but he knew how wrong this was. He told me that he loved me very much and promised to be a good husband and father to our daughter. He slept on the couch. He's still sleeping now. I'm shocked and full of anxiety. I don't know what to do or how to feel about this. My sister, should I tell her? Nothing can be the same again, but she's my only family member and my best friend. And my husband, is this over? I have been so blind. Now, I see everything. Of course, he's in love with her. How could I be shocked? Can I save this marriage? What about my baby? I promised her a better life than the one I had. I promised her kind and loving parents. I can't let her come into this world with estranged parents. What can I do? Update 1. He is awake now, and I have spoken to him. He apologized for hurting me last night. He said that he just felt despair, like he had something very beloved and important in his life that he lost, and he was mourning it. He told me he loved me very much, and he wanted this to work for us and the baby. I asked him if he loved her more than me, and he said it was just a different type of love. I asked him if he could choose between me and her, and he said he'd choose me. I asked him if he thought she was more beautiful, and he said that I'm conventionally more attractive. I asked him if he had stayed with me all these years to be near her. He said I was being unfair to him because he did love me. I asked him if he was okay with never seeing her again. He teared up, but then said he would do anything to save this marriage. He then added that he never really had a mother or a female figure in his life. That's probably why he's attached to her, because she is very warm and loving. I asked him, do you love her as a mother figure, or do you want to sleep with her? He didn't want to answer. I asked him if he fantasized about her while sleeping with me. He refused to answer at first and then said, why are you doing this to yourself? I asked him if he would lose interest in me if she's out of our lives, and it's just us. He looked like he was thinking about this for the first time, and then he said that he chose me and my baby. He wants to start therapy and counseling because he thinks this marriage is salvageable. Update 2. We had a dinner with my sister and her fiancé. My husband was unusually silent and didn't initiate any talk with my sister. And he barely looked at her. It was a nice dinner. My sister is too happy about her engagement and trip tomorrow to notice anything. Before she went, however, my husband hugged her longer than usual. He told her he was happy for her and wished her a great trip. While hugging her, he held her hand and told her, I didn't congratulate you properly yesterday because I was drunk, and he congratulated her again. He was tearing up again. Then he hugged my sister's fiancé and congratulated him. He was silent on our way home. He told me he loved me when we got back and that he would do anything to make this work, but that I shouldn't take any decisions while hurt. We are starting couples therapy. I want him to be 100% honest. He asked me not to tell anyone about his confession because it meant nothing. I told him that I didn't want him around my sister anymore if I gave him a chance. He asked me how this would work when we're always together. She will suspect something, and he doesn't want me to tell her because he's embarrassed. I told him he could just minimize his interactions with her. I told him to sleep on the couch again tonight because I haven't made up my mind about my next move yet. Until then, it's the couch for him. Update 3. I asked my husband for separation because I needed to be on my own to make my decision. We are also starting minimal, whether we stay together or not. I want to know everything that he has been withholding from me. He thinks I'm torturing myself, but he's wrong. I'm tortured with half-truths. With minimal contact, I'm hoping I can get to the bottom of his feelings in a safe environment. He cried when I told him that I wanted to separate. He told me he lost everything in one day because of a drunken confession that meant nothing. He loves me, and he wants to be with me. He suggested that we move away. He has had job offers in other cities on several occasions. He said this could be our new start. We were renovating the basement this summer to make it a guest room because our current guest room is being turned into a baby room. He will live in the basement. It has separate entrances, and the mini kitchen is almost finished. I have decided not to tell my sister about any of this. This is my battle, and this is my marriage. I love my sister so much, but I'll be very honest here. I resent her. I'm jealous of her, and I think I have always been jealous of her. She's a way better person than I am. I hate that I never had the chance to return the favor, as she has always been perfect and never needed help. I resent that she isn't as angry as I'm about the injustice we had to endure. I hate that she's so good to me and my husband. I hate that he sees how much better of a person she is, and I hate that I don't blame her for loving her instead of me. Update 4. He was already getting a better job offer in the other city, and now he thought it was time to move on. I agreed. We started minimal contact. I told my sister that we were moving, and she was very distraught, but she, as always, didn't object and supported me. I don't know if she felt it was weird that my husband wasn't hanging with us anymore, but she never asked. She was probably just busy with her own happiness and the changes in her life. After her vacation, she came home and told me everything. She was pregnant, and she was glowing, and that was the reason for this sudden engagement. Her fiancé wants to get married before the baby is born. She asked me to keep it a secret because she was waiting for the second trimester to make the announcement. She finally broke down, crying about me moving away when she needed me the most, but then later apologized for being selfish. She understood that we needed to provide the best life for my daughter, including finding better jobs elsewhere. I cried for a whole week. A week ago, my husband was in a job interview in another city, and he was going to stay there for the week to sign a lease for a new apartment. We thought we could try out the new life before selling our house to buy a new one there. My sister and her boyfriend made the announcement that they were expecting last Tuesday, the day after my husband's interview. Not 30 minutes later, my husband called me. He was drunk, and he was crying and asking if it was true and if I knew. He called me a cruel liar for not telling him. He said it was so unfair. My sister's fiancé was a loser, and he didn't deserve her. Her fiancé is a carpenter, and my sister is a pediatrician. And he told me he needed to be alone for a while, so he switched off his phone. On Friday, he texted me that he didn't want to be with me anymore and that he didn't want to be in my daughter's life. He was sorry, but he couldn't do it anymore. If I agreed to free him from his responsibilities as a father, he would leave me the house. I tried calling him, but he had switched off his phone again. I cried all night. Yesterday morning, my sister called me to ask what's up. My husband has asked her to meet up with him because he wanted to tell her something that he couldn't say over the phone. He was coming on Monday to see her. She asked me what was going on, but I was too tired to tell her anything. She and her fiancé are coming over today, and I will probably need to tell her everything now. Update 5. My sister was here, and I told her everything. I got help from showing her parts of what I have written here because, honestly, I'm too tired to go into details about what I've been going through all these weeks. I told her that Lucas was going to call, asking to meet her, probably to tell her he loved her or maybe something more sinister, so she needs to stay away from him. Her fiancé was on the edge of his seat with anger. My sister was just crying, apologizing, and trying to hug and stroke my hair. I hated her touch. I don't know why. I know nothing is her fault. I told my sister that now I had warned her that I wanted to be on my own for a while and that I didn't want any contact with any of them. I have been thinking about moving to another city. There's a small town that one of my best high school friends lived in after getting married. It's up north, and everything is bigger, better, and cheaper. I can easily find a small rental until the divorce is final, and I can easily get a job there. If I can manage a place there, I can give birth there with zero stress. I texted my husband that I've told my sister everything and that both she and her fiancé aren't happy. He called me an hour later. He apologized and told me he didn't mean to freak her out. He just wanted to see her and say goodbye, but he wouldn't bother her if she felt scared. He's still the same man, and he wouldn't let anything happen to her. He didn't ask about me or my baby. He's staying in the new place, and he's starting his new job in September. He thought he would come back to say goodbye before moving to his new city permanently. My sister texted me later to say that she loved me and that she would stay out of my way if that's what I wanted, but to please not go through with my plans to move because she needs me, and she would do anything to make it up to me. I didn't answer. I hate it when she's so perfect and kind.